Good morning, friends. It is Friday. Meredith is out today.
Yep.
She is at a wedding with her family, but I am so lucky to have my pal Sarah here.
Woo.
Dr. Sarah Orrick is back with us today. We're going to do a whole grab bag. There are so many things. Oh, yeah, we got things to talk about. I'm going to give y'all a quick little rundown of the things we're going to talk about, and then let's get into it. Okay, we're talking about the latest Parasite to hit the U.S. We have new information that, of course, is coming from Taco Bell. Fun fact about me, I've never had Taco Bell.
Wow.
And I don't intend to start now, my
Nice.
friends. Then we'll be checking in on ICE vehicle stops, as well as I did my patriotic duty last night and watched the Trump address, so you don't have to, and I can tell you all about what I heard and said. Then we're going to be doing a grab bag. Taylor Frankie Paul is having new, pretty serious allegations about her children, and I really want your perspective of that as a mother. And then this is the one that I'm really excited about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, if you are not on TikTok, voice memo guy. This is a debate happening on TikTok about whether a man who sent a voice memo to a woman represented flawless communication or coercion. And nobody better than Dr. Sarah.
I've got opinions.
She's got opinions. I have opinions. But what's weird is the internet has opinions that did not
align with mine.
And surprised. I was like,
I know.
this is not the internet I know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, set us up.
Okay, so the CDC is investigating a large multi-state outbreak of cyclosporiasis, a diarrheal illness caused by a parasite. Cases have now been identified in 34 states, with 1,645 confirmed domestically acquired cases and more than 5,100 additional cases under review. And I think that's really low.
Oh, okay.
Because I think right now the figures, I think, are catching up. I think states are a little bit faster in reporting. But again, it's a hot mess. It's not something that we typically test for when someone has a diarrheal illness.
And probably like at what point
like not that many people are presenting.
I was going to say present, or like, I don't know. I remember this is, I want to let you keep going, but I remember it turned out, had COVID in December of 2019.
Oh.
Like long before people thought there was COVID in the United States. And like, I found out that it was COVID many months later because I tested for antibodies. And I was like, oh, I know what that was. But I didn't go to the ER, but had I known COVID was a real thing in New York City at that time, like I was really, really sick, So
right, but some people have sort of mild illness. And it's protracted, so it's a long time. It's easily cured with Bactrim, which is an antibiotic.
Okay.
Yes, but for people who have, if they're immune compromised, if they have other issues, they may end up in the hospital because, they're not drinking enough water.
Dehydration. That's what I was thinking.
Exactly, not because of the parasite directly.
Okay, so last night
we've identified the source.
I was gonna say, okay, tell me about this. Tell me about the source. Tell me about what that means next for everybody. I also, I have a girlfriend who lives in Japan, is coming to visit, and she was like, if I get like a diarrheal parasite, the month that I'm coming, I'm gonna, lose it at the United. This is very U.S. coded.
It's very U.S. COVID. They identified it in Taylor Farms, and apparently that's the biggest supplier of iceberg lettuce to Taco Bell.
Well, there you go. I have never had Taco Bell, and it's one of those things where it's like if you get to a certain place in your life where you've never had Taco Bell, like then it becomes like a thing. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, well, I'm not going to try Taco Bell now. If I got out of high school and college without Taco Bell.
I know. Then you're done. So it is caused by cyclospora, which is a parasite, of course. And I think what's sad is that it's just taken so long.
Yeah.
And so we're sort of thinking about how the CDC has had a lot of cuts and how that might be implicated in just not having the surveillance. I mean, there's really cool jobs at the CDC where they're like literally detectives and they try to figure out where did this come from? How do I track everyone that's had the disease?
Yeah.
What did they all eat in common?
And they found Taco Bell?
I guess so. But again, I think there's been a lot of cuts that have made this, it's just been just a while that we haven't even known what the source is.
Yeah. Whenever these types of things happen, I think that's exactly what goes through people's heads is like, we don't think, or at least I don't really think about the CDC on a day-to-day basis. I'm like,
really, I do.
Yeah, well, I know exactly. Well, that's the thing. It's like a doctor would, but then things like this happen, and I've always felt this way too. Is like we already had a major pandemic. Like what's
know.
coming down the pipeline that we are not prepared for? Like
A
I don't know,
diarrheal disease was not right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But cyclosporiasis has been really challenging, I think, for mothers that want to just like
Ooh,
feed. It's like more load.
yeah,
I've seen so many moms that are like, I can't feed my kids berries anymore, but my berries are the only thing my kid will eat.
interesting.
Right, and just like different behaviors around. We already don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and then to not know which fruit and vegetable was the root of this.
That's so true. I know it does feel like, I don't know, we do dystopic every week, you know? We're like, oh yeah, no more fruits and vegetables, only processed foods.
Yep.
I wonder,
Yep.
actually, it's interesting. How do you think like the maha of it all is playing into it? People who, you know, on the one hand are like, I only feed my children organic fruits and vegetables, and yet
and we didn't know if those were safe.
Yeah,
at this
nobody.
point.
Yeah. Even I started. I'm like not a hypochondriac in that way, and even I was like, I got some fun things coming up. I'm not looking for.
The risks were relatively low. Again, like this is uncomfortable and convenient, but if you do know what it is, you can have a great treatment for it. But I think it was still just like I don't want that.
I don't want that. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, me too. I started to make some different decisions, but like cooking your fruits and vegetables is just not a point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. Somebody's saying that the redhead look like Antonella Messi.
Is that Messi's wife?
I think it must be.
Okay, fine.
Who is a babe.
Okay, well, thanks.
So I guess thanks, y'all.
Okay.
Anything else to say about this? Like, what are you worried? I guess if you don't need Taco Bell,
no,
we don't need to be worried.
I think now that we've identified a source, we feel a little bit better. But I think overall, it was low risk enough that I wasn't feeling that terribly, and I didn't actually change any of my behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I think it's like also meme, like it's total meme stock.
Yes.
You know. Somebody's asking what we're talking about. Welcome back to the moment, everybody.
Cyclosporiasis.
We're talking about the diarrheal parasite, I guess. But we got other things on the docket. I guess let's move on. Let's talk about Donald Trump, who I watched give an address last night, primetime. Interestingly, NBC and ABC refused to carry the address.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way, he talked about in it. I'm just gonna. A couple of other things that are happening in Donald Trump land is, we talked about this on Tuesday. ICE agents had killed 2 more people, fatal shootings, innocent people, not that guilty people deserve to be shot in the street either.
Yes.
And there's been talk about whether ICE should stop making traffic stops. And then Trump, via Caroline Leavitt, came out and said, absolutely not. So that is happening. And then I want to talk about this address from last night, where it was all about whether there is election interference. It was all setting up to the midterms and all past the SAVE Act. And he has this, and he announced basically this investigation by like the FBI and everything into election fraud. But he also, it was like really bizarre because he kind of like got up in front of the nation and told the world our elections aren't safe, but also didn't give any real like information
or evidence,
context. Yeah, like he did.
What was the deal with the documents that were like posted online?
That's what it was. It's he was, he was announcing this investigation, like all the things they found, and there was a lot about like China.
The election he won.
No. Interesting you say that. Interesting you say that because it was all sort of centered on 2020 and the midterms during his first. And I'm like, interesting that we've skipped. That 2024 seems to have been safe.
So 24 was safe.
I mean, he didn't explicitly say 24 was safe, but he didn't. He was like, yeah, 2020 is the one we're really worried about here.
Got it.
And then there was stuff about Obama. It was really strange. He blamed the media once again, but I, in some ways, was relieved because I was a little bit worried that he was going to like do some sort of like it's a national emergency, which like he still could be laddering up towards,
Right. I heard the Hungary model. I mean, I guess a lot of right. It happens in a lot of places.
Yeah. Wait. Explain what the Hungary model is, just in case.
I'm not a historian,
Yeah.
but it seems like this is a way that some of these authoritarian governments are able to kind of keep control. Is say, hey, there's a terrorist action. We need to be safe. Right.
That's what they do.
And I think there was some kind of maybe it was like a terror that maybe was.
Yeah. This happened in Russia. This has happened in a couple of different places. I mean, it happened in Hitler's Weimar Republic.
Okay.
Gabby, can we throw up the comments? Just I see some people are commenting. I want to make sure that we're getting those comments in. We love to hear your comments and questions.
But I think the point is, and I think this is what a lot of historians have said: if you know what's coming, or if you know what the setup is, and
Yep.
like you're aware and informed.
Yeah, like it just felt like fear mongering to me. It was just so that his base, I think, is prepped for it. By the way, he talked about the California race. And, like once again,
Like our upcoming.
No, the primary.
Oh, okay.
And, about how it was rigged against Spencer Pratt. I think also.
Spencer.
What's hard about that is California does need to count their ballots. Like California needs to fix their ballot counting, period.
Why? What's
And
wrong with it? Slow.
it's so I mean, he made the point to his audience. He said the
took
primary
too
was
long.
June 2nd, and they just technically finished counting last week.
That just sounds like bureaucracy to me.
Yeah, no, it's definitely bureaucracy. Like, don't get me wrong, but
There's a lot of us here.
There's a lot of us here.
But fair.
But I also am like, yeah, this is one of the things that Democrats are no good at. Or like Democratic run states are no good at, and that we do need to fix, or I think we need to fix, because it leaves space for bad actors.
Yes, and misinformation in that vacuum.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that that's really what he was doing yesterday. I think is like he got on and he played the old hits, and it did make me wonder. I wonder how much the old hits still work for people.
I don't know, but I saw the addresses of the family members of the young Colombian man
Tell me
that
more,
died. Both his father and his wife, or his partner, and it was soul crushing. I'm Colombian. This one particularly hurts.
Yeah.
And it's just
What did they say?
just to hear like the real life stories. I think is really important for people to, because like sometimes these victims become a little bit dehumanized.
Totally.
And we
And
just
they
talk
become
about
political
ICE and
props,
political
yeah.
props, but like this is a person that was just out there trying to make it work for his family. A 3-year-old daughter. He was supposed to go to the park with her later that day. Like there's just, and this woman's like, how am I going to explain to my daughter what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. How could you ever? Yeah.
And I just think most of us are able to connect with that human story.
Yeah. I wonder
And that injustice.
what you think, like with all the like Maine of it all, the upcoming election, like Maine has been weirdly in the spotlight for like such like
know.
a small, or not small, but like a rural state that minds its business. It's been
Yes.
like all up in the national
Well,
news.
is in news, yeah.
Do you think that this is like a big enough, human enough story that people will be like, yeah, I'm gonna vote?
I'm seeing some changes.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, I think, and I'm like sort of hearing that.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
It just feels like this has gone too far.
I think it's interesting, like ICE, these killings, like they do cross political boundaries.
Yes.
And that's also part of why I wonder if like Trump now decided to address the nation and be
I
like,
see.
let me
Sort of
get
change
ahead of
the
this.
story. Yeah.
You know what else was interesting to me this week? JD Vance was back on Joe Rogan,
Okay.
and
I missed that one.
yeah, well, I only saw clips of it, but the clip that I did see, JD Vance was saying that we, the administration, mishandled the release of the Epstein files.
Okay.
And he was like, that doesn't make us guilty. We weren't covering anything up. We mishandled the release of it.
Okay, so now are they going to correct it?
Well, good point. One, I don't know.
'Cause
But
they
here's why I
can.
thought it was really interesting. So, a couple of weeks ago, when the New York Times released the excerpt from the Maggie Haberman, Jonathan Swan book, essentially the excerpt was all about the ins and outs of the release of the Epstein files in the Trump world. It was like, they were in the Situation Room and this, that, and the other. And I was reading it, and it was so specific. You were like, okay, who's the leaker here?
Yeah.
Who is giving this information? And I was like, I think it's JD Vance.
Ooh.
And in fact, the narrative fits now that he's out there doing this, like
You're putting the puzzle pieces
it
together.
fits-
It's falling into place.
It fits so well because within the narrative, JD Vance, in the Maggie Haberman
Yes.
narrative, JD Vance is the one saying, we need to release everything and like you know, like we need to be as transparent as possible. He had like a finger on the pulse of,
I can
of
see
that.
that. I can see that.
And also if he's the leaker, of course he looks like the hero there. And then to see him on Joe Rogan, it also said to me that he is trying to find ways to find daylight between him and Donald Trump, which I think is interesting.
I can see that.
All right, let's go to grab bag. Okay, I wanted to start here. And I'm just going to set it up for you, but I kind of want to let you cook because I feel like you are going to know more about the ins and outs of this, both as a mom and as a practitioner.
Yeah.
Taylor Frankie Paul. She has new child welfare issues. It's been ongoing. She's from the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
And, Bachelorette season
well,
that was supposed to air.
It was already supposed to air, but, we
pulled it.
Well, they did, but also we had Rachel Lindsay on, who was a Bachelorette.
Okay.
And we talked about it, and we're like, I bet you
it'll get on.
I bet you it'll get on at some point.
Okay.
So she's facing new legal challenges after Utah's Division of Child and Family Services filed a petition asking juvenile court to classify her 3 children as abused, neglected, or dependent and place them under court-ordered protective services, which is like a really big deal, right?
I know.
How big it, like, explain
Well,
that
I don't know Utah's, like, proceedings or all the details around that. I do follow Taylor Frankie Paul on Instagram. She wears, like, my company's hat all the time.
Really?
That says proof of mom.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is cool, and we're a mental health company.
Yeah.
But what I've seen reflected is that I just see someone who's really, really struggling.
Yeah.
Right, and unwell.
Interesting.
And
you would know as a mental health practitioner.
And I think it's just, we see all the signs. I don't know. I just wish she would get more help.
Yeah.
And it seems like from some of the proceedings, like maybe she isn't that engaged in her treatment. She stormed out with Child Protective Services in the house. Oof. So I think it's not great. It's not great. But I think what I'm hearing, and I think what's important to not lose sight of in this story, is that I think she's also a victim of a lot of domestic violence.
Like it's, that stuff is so, it's so not black and white.
It's not black and white. It's so convoluted. But I do think, and what again, this is reported, who knows what's actually going on. I think that's also so important. If we don't kind of have a clear view this is all hearsay. But I think there's a focus on all her career stuff versus getting the treatment or the care.
Yeah, like where,
like I have too much stuff to do. I can't go to therapy. And it's like, no, girl, therapy is the most important thing right now
100%.
in order to become more regulated.
And you know that, like, ABC executives are out there being like, do we release this? Do we not release? You know, I'm sure she's like tied up in other stuff too at the same time.
I know.
You know, it was interesting. Meredith, who cannot be with us today, but we were talking about this story, and she tried to go look up the court documents.
Yes.
Which in other states,
are like unsealed.
Which in other states are unsealed, but in Utah are not.
I could see that.
To pay for them.
Oh, dang.
And isn't that really like, it's not like crazy expensive, but like it's.
Did she pay?
Good question. We should
we'll have to ask her.
Yeah, we'll have to ask her. But it was like you had to pay like 20 cents a search even. But she made the point. It was like these places that are like, we are for families. And it's like, but it's dangerous. Exactly. Like, are you?
I know.
And I thought that was a really interesting footnote. Okay, moving on.
Everyone just needs more mental health support there.
Girl,
that's all I'll say.
Don't we all? I am tired. Actually, okay, maybe this is a segue.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Wildfires from Canada are once again plunging the East Coast into a dystopic darkness. Whew. The photos are bizarre.
Okay.
And what I remember is maybe like, I don't know, I'm going to say like 6 years ago, it happened for the first time when I was living in New York. And I remember it being like overwhelming, shocking, couldn't believe it, feels like a once in a lifetime, looks like a Blade Runner type situation. And now I feel like this happens once a summer. How does this affect our mental health and our physical health?
It's huge. I think we don't understand, and we haven't researched enough or talked enough about how climate change is actually a huge impact on mental health.
Say more.
So first of all, there are physical implications. It is like the worst air quality, I think, in the entire world right now.
I have a, like not a good friend, but like, somebody I'm friendly with who is pregnant.
Yeah.
And she posted what's going on in Queens. And I was like, yeah, that would be terrifying to
And
me.
people can't get out of the city. Like,
Yeah,
it's
right, and
really
it's so
hard.
trapped. I
Yeah,
know,
it's
that's-
really hard. And then if you have asthma or any kind of respiratory illness, then you're really in for it. So
Yeah.
it's horrific for your physical health.
Yeah.
But the impacts of that
Yeah.
long term are really hard, right? Like I survived the Palisades fire, and most of my stuff didn't. And so it's
is
but it's this feeling of like there's of course some PTSD, but there's like, what is secure anymore?
What is secure? It feels like everything could go away any
Yes,
second.
yes. Which is, and
100%.
listen, there's some good from that, of like, that is like, life is impermanent,
Yeah.
and we have to get used to that.
Yeah.
It's uncertain, etc. But to think like, oh, there's going to be a drought, we don't have water, like when resources are starting to become so limited and that's concerning.
It's really concerning. This is actually like a relatively big news story. I live right by, there was a big water main break in West Hollywood.
Yes.
If you guys haven't heard, like
Next to Book Soup.
next to Book Soup, which
Great bookstore.
We both know how. Yeah, we both love Book Soup. It's the best. I think Book Soup seems to be fine.
Okay, good.
But it's right at that corner.
Yep.
And the pipes there were 110 years old.
Okay.
Which makes me be like, I guess maybe I'm gonna write in Spencer Pratt, but this water main broke, and like the videos are like, it's just like rushing throughout West Hollywood, like cars are destroyed, homes are destroyed. Like,
I didn't know it was that massive.
Oh, it's
our streets closed. Yeah.
Oh, the street has collapsed. There's like a sinkhole.
What?
Yes. There is a sinkhole in the middle of Santa Monica. I mean, not Santa Monica, Sunset Boulevard. Which, like, if you don't live in LA, Sunset Boulevard is a
I know, that was where the
major-
Tower Records was.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
literally
yeah.
right. It is right where, I love this woman so much. I'm so sorry to bring it up. Pamela Anderson's sex tape was first distributed.
I love her too.
I know. But my point is, I personally wasn't affected by
yeah.
it. But to see these videos of water just rushing when, like, LA does not
We need
have the
water. We need that water.
But then also, there have been helicopters over my apartment, like nonstop since
Yeah.
3 a.m. yesterday. And it's just this like low grade buzz
Yep.
that I feel like I cannot fully sleep.
Yep.
It is like I feel crazed. And
Yep.
we talked about this. It reminds me of what Aaron Brockovich told us about these data centers.
Yes.
And this low grade hum and like this mental health. Like I
Well,
understand.
it's activating all of our nervous systems, right? The fight or flight doesn't turn off.
doesn't turn off.
And so that is problematic
It's
as a species.
As a species, no, it's been really interesting to me because like I had a hard week because my dog passed away, but it's like this low grade buzz in the background of my life is like, I feel like I can't my hair looks a mess. You know what I mean? Like I can't totally get my shit together. Okay, anyways, also speaking of mental health,
Oh, yes.
this is a weird one.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay,
Tell us. Okay.
You go.
Sure.
Tell us.
Okay, so today, on to the Today Show, there was a security scare. A man was arrested Thursday morning after breaching security at NBC's Today Show. I thought that would be harder to do.
Yeah, you would think, right?
I thought you need to like check in and get your
You would
badges
think.
and
I've
show
been
your
there
ID.
Yeah, I applied to be at the Page program like 20 years ago.
Okay, cool. So it happened at Rockefeller Center, of course.
Yeah.
And according to NBC and law enforcement, the person was looking for Al Roker, but did not find Al Roker. So Craig Melvin was allegedly lunging at him.
That's crazy.
But then I think it was fine.
I think it sounds like it ended up
Quickly
being
taken into
fine.
custody.
Yeah, and it was like I think they said that there were like racial slurs thrown at him. It's just
Okay.
a scary world right now. I
Yeah.
think is what's going on. I think that it's like,
But I feel like this has always happened.
that's true. Fair. I do.
This one doesn't feel as it's alarming, but I'm
Yeah.
like,
it could have happened in the 90s.
at
Today's
least he
Show,
didn't have a
racist.
At least he didn't have a gun.
He didn't have a gun.
Then
Yeah,
I would
that's
be
right.
saying something.
That's really true. That's really true. I know. That's a
But
really
like,
good point.
I think as long as there's people in the media and people to like stalk, I don't know if that will ever go away.
Yeah, that's a really good
entirely.
point. I know.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that it was neutralized and
Yeah.
everyone's safe.
It seems to be okay.
And I hope he's getting mental health care because that's probably what's.
That's probably that's what happens with all these people. Okay. Speaking of, I feel like every one of our stories we're like, and speaking of poor mental health.
Yep.
Okay, this one I thought was sort of like hilarious, and I really wanted your take on.
Okay.
Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. It's so like I'm mommy's biggest boy, and this story is very mommy's biggest boy. So he addressed the troops this week.
Yes.
Not about the ongoing war in Iran.
Nope.
Not about Venezuela,
Okay.
but about offering military testosterone deficiency tests. As somebody who specializes in hormones
Yes.
and
Well, I
sexual-
have a lot to say about testosterone.
Please tell us about testosterone.
Testosterone is a controlled substance currently. It's not FDA approved for women, even though it's very useful in women because women also have testosterone.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more.
It's a controlled substance.
So tell me one about testosterone being a controlled substance and
Yes.
tell me why women need it. Because
Yeah. Okay, so it's a controlled substance for unclear reasons.
okay.
I don't know people who have addiction disorders and are like, I need testosterone. I guess like some men
Is it like
maybe
a
overdo
maxing
it.
problem?
maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little bit.
Has it always been controlled?
Yes. I believe so.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I think the biggest issue though is the lack of FDA approval for women.
So there's no FDA approval for
No. So for women, as we age and go through perimenopause, testosterone is also something that suffers. And of course, it is involved in, we think, cognitive functioning, of course, interest in sex, libido, all of that. And it really helps, right? Estrogen and progesterone for hormone replacement therapy is what we always talk about. But testosterone is sort of that third hormone that's really important, but it's hard.
Do men
to
have
obtain.
estrogen?
No.
So we have testosterone.
Yes.
And we need testosterone.
Yes.
Men have no estrogen.
I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Weird. Men and women, man.
Listen, I haven't studied men for a long time,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm more on women.
Women are more. I wish you could have been here, but we had Cindy Eckert on Tuesday.
Yes, that's a wonderful guest.
First of all, the freaking coolest. You guys should talk because you guys.
She's wonderful.
She's so cool. But also, it was really interesting hearing the ways in which the FDA treats women in all of these. In a way that men is just sort of like, yeah, sure, you need Viagra, go forth. And get your dicks hard.
Yes.
With women, it's like you have to jump through hoops.
Yes.
It's and it seems like.
And listen, it's not that I don't think testosterone deficiency in men is a problem. It certainly is. I don't know if it's this big of a problem or if it needs to be routine in this way.
Yeah, that's what it
until
seems
people have symptoms, right? It's not that men shouldn't have testosterone replacement. They should if they're, having significant symptoms or if they're tired, if they're having brain fog, if they're having.
But also, don't you think?
decreased
I don't know.
interest
When
in
I
sex.
see this, I mean, I don't know. I'm also not an expert in men's testosterone, but I'm like, I don't know. This particular demographic of men, I feel like is not really
Deficient.
likely to say. Yeah, I'm like, when I think of
they've made these choices, right? And this is what they want to do. I
Yeah.
agree that
Do you
I'm
know
like,
what
is this the population that's really
right,
and what we really
18
think
to 30-year-olds
and middle-aged
let's say.
men is who we start
That's
to
what I
kind of
would
think
think.
about
Yeah,
exactly
it's
about testosterone.
And yeah, men who
So it's a problem, but I'm just like, is it this widespread? And is this the population that needs it?
yeah.
And why are we doing something that's not really evidence-based, right? They don't need tests.
they don't need
in
tests.
these young
and it
men.
just feels, I don't know, it feels so Pete Hegseth being like, hey bros, we're getting in the gym, and if you need
Right,
testosterone,
it's like the-
it's
right.
very muscle boy. And then you see, I think one of my favorites is you see all these photos of him lifting weights. And I'm like, we were talking about this. I'm a pole dancer. I'm like, I've seen pictures, and I'm like, I could definitely bench press more than Pete Hegseth can. I absolutely can.
But I think it feels very much like playing to that ultra masculine.
Yeah.
But there are issues with testosterone access, and I just don't think this one's
This
it.
is one of them. It's also interesting to me as we, I'm opening a can of worms, but as trans people's access to medical care
Yes.
and, they're dealing with their own gender dysphoria. It's okay, so men who are having hormonal issues in the military have very easy access to understand those hormones.
Yes.
People who are not in the military and have different hormonal needs are
not.
monsters.
Yeah.
It's
That's
such a
interesting,
weird, right?
actually. Right.
Aren't these all? I remember I did a story many, many years ago with in rural Vermont about
Hormone replacement.
hormone replacement in a place where you have to go really far to get it, and there's not many resources
For transgender care.
For transgender care.
Yep.
And it was the first time I'd really sat with a doctor who explained to me just how this is just like chemical, like we all, like this is just like playing
Yes.
with hormones, and we play with hormones all the time. Like you said, with perimenopause, we play
Well,
with
you
hormones.
know, I think the silver lining is I'm glad he's talking about hormone replacement.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. It's
Maybe
like, it's
that's
so,
maybe that's the
That's
takeaway.
the through line. I know that's exactly
Okay,
what I was
okay.
thinking. Is like it's so weird that like for an administration that spends so much time policing how we talk about hormones,
Yes.
to be like, okay, but in this very specific way for this very specific population with this very specific
Well, there's women
social
in the
construct.
military, so maybe they're going to
They're
be on.
going to. Do you think that women are going to get testosterone tested? I think this is definitely like we're in the gym bra and we're gonna. Yeah,
But I think spreading the word about hormone replacement.
it's great. Thank you, Pete Hegseth, for your
Thanks.
service. Okay, I'm really excited to get your take on this. We've been doing like an asking for a friend segment, and we were gonna take your questions.
But this
week.
one's so much better.
But this one is, yeah, I felt like this one was really, really timely, but that's not to say, like, we want to hear in the chat your take on this, and if you in the future have questions you'd like us to answer, we are doing advice going forward. But, okay, there's been this debate
Yes.
on TikTok.
Yes.
You're not really a TikTok girly.
I'm not.
I'm a scroller. It is a problem. Anyways, on TikTok this past week, there's been this whole debate about voice memo guy.
Yep.
This guy left a voice memo to a woman between their first and second date.
I want to talk to this woman so badly.
No.
Let's have her as a guest.
Let's have her as a guest. Yeah, I don't even know where it came from. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like she's come forward
No.
and been the center of this. It's just
But
like
she leaked it.
But she clearly leaked
Yeah,
it. And it sparked a really big debate that surprised me
Me
on
too.
the internet about sexuality, about coercion, about consent. I didn't pull the entire thing because it's long and exhausting, but let's play a piece of it. And then I want to get your take, and then I want to talk. I think we probably feel the same way about it, but if you disagree, because many people
Oh my God,
do,
what if we disagreed?
I know. Well, hopefully, maybe I'll take the other side. Gabby, can you play voice
Are
memo guy,
lovely.
please?
However, I would love to, if we're gonna go to your place on Thursday, I mean, I am looking to have that physical intimacy to see if like I am sexually compatible with you. So like if I'm gonna come over, like I would be hoping to like hook up, have sex, have a good time, have like that romantic spark and that physical spark there for my own sake, because it's hard for me to continue dating someone and seeing them if I don't know if I'm sexually compatible. So I know you said I don't know about that, so like I guess my thing is like what would be the point of me coming over then if we're not gonna like hook up and like cuddle and like be intimate with each other?
Okay. So he basically goes on for another minute exactly like that.
Yes.
With like a little bit of like therapy speak. Not
Yes.
therapy speak, but like almost
Yeah,
sounds
there's like boundaries. There's like this
I'm communicating.
yes. There's I'm a clear communicator type of thing. I think a lot of people are weaponizing this type of language
Yeah.
and sort of using it
Vanity
to
Fair did an article
manipulate.
about this
yes,
this week.
yes, to like manipulate and coerce into what they want.
Yep.
I think, oh my God, there's so much here.
So, okay,
What's your
first-
hot take? And I'll tell you mine.
Okay. I mean, I guess I have a lot of hot takes.
Let's put the context. They
Yeah.
had just met each other once.
So they'd gone on a first date. And then what it sounds like, and again, the only context is like from
Yes.
this, what it sounds like is that they were planning on going on a second date
Yes.
at her house.
Yes.
And then what I wrote down in the interim is it said, I know you said you don't know about that. Like, in other words, it sounds like they'd
They
already
had a
talked about
conversation. Well, that bothers me. They had a
too.
conversation, and I think he didn't have.
the answer that he wanted.
Oh no, he didn't. And also, he didn't have the clear communication while they were in person.
While they were in person.
to say this.
And it sounds like, I don't know, here's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like two young people, and like, you know, like
does
I
he
used
sound that young?
maybe not, but like just yeah, I guess men, who knows? But like, I don't know. For me, like I never, at this point in my life, I don't do a second date at the house ever. Doesn't
Sure.
Matter
Sure,
what's
sure,
going
sure.
on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Fair.
It's
Okay.
too soon for you to be in my personal space.
Yeah, yeah.
But it sounds like when I was younger, I definitely would have,
Yeah.
and I definitely probably would have done it and been like,
Well,
maybe
also, I have
we'll
to say, dating is expensive.
dating's expensive.
People don't have that many resources. Coming over to a house is like
100%. Yeah, we'll have
their savings.
Yeah, 100%. And I that's my sense is that she was like probably like maybe we could.
No.
And then my real hot take of all of this, you know, there's been so much, and then I want to ask you about it. It's like, is this consent? Is this coercion? I don't really think it's either. I think this man would be terrible. Do not have sex with this man. Do not have sex with, like, imagine a man being like, hey, I just, like, for the sake of me,
Yeah.
able to come over and
Yeah, this is not going to be a pleasurable experience for the partner.
My God. I heard this and I was like the desert. Like,
well, and I think what we kind of disagree with is the point that people are making is, oh, actually, he's clearly communicating. He's telling her what his needs are. Like, bravo. But I actually think sex is so much more complicated than that, especially with a
for
woman.
Women. Yes.
And so it's like this takes away all the mystery, all the uncertainty, all the tension.
all the like
The tension,
desire.
the tension is
Yeah.
what builds the desire.
100%.
And
not just the
knowing
tension, like, the
someone.
safety.
Right. She'll know who he is.
Yeah.
She'll
And
know
I
this
don't just
person.
mean safety in terms of like the boring safety
No,
stuff. It's, like,
emotional safety.
Emotional safety.
Right. Like they connect. It just
Yeah.
feels like this feels very
And,
transactional.
like, wanted. You
And
know
he's
what I mean? Like,
he's also saying, if you don't do this, I'm
we
not
are
dating.
no longer right. Exactly. It's like it's the opposite of safety. It's like I'm not interested in you enough other than a physical body.
I also think this is very there's sort of like incel about it of like
100%.
I think there's a fear of rejection, a deep fear of rejection, because again, if you continue to sort of build that tension, will they or they might not.
Or they might not, and
She
that
might
is
not like
fun
you.
and sexy,
Right.
Yes,
And I think
and she
he
might the
can't-
third date, she
Right.
might the fifth date. Like, don't
Right.
you want to hang out and find out?
But also, I think he can't deal with the uncertainty.
Yeah.
So he's like, I need certainty around this. And I think that's ultimately fear of rejection.
100.
Again, I've never examined this individual, but from this,
what
I'm
you know.
piecing it together.
Well, I think that I feel, therapy speak, a little bit triggered by this on top of everything else because I feel inundated constantly with people being like the male loneliness epidemic.
Yes.
There's a problem with dating and men don't know. And then I hear things like this and I'm like, you know,
Self-inflicted
I guess
wound.
at least he isn't like showing up and assuming, like at least I guess he's like,
he's not being a predator.
he's not being a predator, but I'm like, the bar is
Like,
buried in the, you know what I mean? I'm like, no wonder women do not want to be around men. Like, if
Well,
I got a
this
voice
is-
memo
I
like
know.
this, I would be like blocked forever. I mean, I'm lucky that I'm at a point in my life where it's like a man like this would never even
Cross your path.
like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even
yeah.
come within a 20-foot
I
radius
know.
of me.
I
but,
got
like,
a T-shirt at the Olivia Dean concert that says, I don't want a boyfriend.
Yeah.
For this reason.
For this reason.
I am married
She
to
is
a man.
married, yeah.
But,
Well, that's the thing.
but I
it's
don't
like-
want a boyfriend.
No, there's and I also like, I don't know, I'm tragically straight, and like every once in a while a man will come across my path. I'm like, oh, I love men. Like I'm straight, you know.
Oh, I
like,
know.
But it's like for
know.
the absolute most part, and I mean for like the 99.9%,
painful.
I'm like, I want nothing to do with these people.
Yeah.
And this voice memo is a perfect example.
I think this is like centered on male fragility, and being in relationships is taking risks, right? It's like, oh, you may or may not like who I am, but
we
here
may
I
fall
am.
out of love.
Right.
We might
right.
be attracted to one.
We may
might-
have terrible sex
we
and I
may have
never want to do it
terrible
again.
sex, yeah.
But like, I just think you have to be okay with that risk taking.
Yes.
And if you're not, and if you're just looking for certainty, I think we talked about like maybe he needs a sex worker.
Yes. And also
That is
like no
certain.
shame.
That is
Yeah,
certain.
That is certain. That is certain.
And transactional.
Yeah. No, and I think, okay, so one of the things that's come up in the internet debate of it all is a lot of people have been like, this is so like heteronormative straight culture and like casual sex is fine. And this,
It
that.
is.
It's totally fine. And like, I get.
But I'd want my casual sex to still have a little lead up.
Well, that's the thing. Lead up or like, I don't know. I just, it doesn't sound to me like this woman I'm projecting my own younger self onto her.
Oh, but there's something here about sexual interest and how women and men are turned on that's different.
I want to hear you talk about that. 100% that. I also think that when I was younger, I would sort of be interested in casual sex because I had my own emotional unavailability. And then I would also encounter these types of men and be like, ugh.
I know.
And I wonder if this woman is probably the same, where she's like, yeah, like I could
Like
do some casual
sometimes, yeah.
sex and like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then also on the other hand, it's like, I want that casual sex to be like great.
Yeah.
And at least for women,
Or
and
some
in my
connection.
experience, like those two things do not line up. I've
I
never
know.
had casual sex like this that has ever been even remotely worth
No,
the time.
no.
You know? But
And
I want to hear about
So I think this is a misunderstanding. It sounds like for most men, the majority, over like 85%, it's spontaneous desire. So it's
Oh.
like you just see genitalia and you're turned
They're
on
like-
and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the argument why like, you know, homosexual relationships between two men can be like really hot and heavy, and you can have like a one night stand and
then-
it can turn into a full blown like
It's funny.
long-term
I
relationship.
want to keep letting you cook because I'm so fascinated, but this is what I found is like a lot of people on the internet were like, this is so heteronormative. And I'm like,
Yes.
maybe.
but he's dating a woman.
But I was going to say, it is heteronormative. Like I have
so
the
maybe
same
you
thing.
should try to like, right, then
I
like,
have a lot of gay friends who would do this and it would be like, it's not about something wrong.
No.
It's like, yeah, this is a fun,
it's not reading the room.
it's not reading, it's a fundamental mismatch. And I agree.
Yes.
For
and
me,
only 15% or less of women have that spontaneous desire.
like,
So there are some women that are turned on in that way,
Yeah.
where it's just like naked body, I'm
Yeah.
ready to go. But for most women, it's like
for
brain.
me,
It's
the
brain,
only
it's
time
connection.
I've ever been like that is somebody who I'm already like deeply
But
in.
that's not.
Exactly.
That
it's
wasn't.
not exactly.
That happened. Right. That was your brain.
That was my brain.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Which, by the way, again, we were talking to Cindy Eckert about this. Is what's so fascinating is female Viagra.
Yes.
Like men's Viagra is a literal physical. Like
Yes,
here's how we
that's
get
it.
blood.
That's
For
it.
Women's
It's just an
Viagra,
erection.
It's
That's
just an
not the
erection.
equivalent for women.
It's like it's
So much more complex, and this is
so
why
much more
Addie
complex.
hasn't been as successful as Viagra.
Of course. Well,
Because
I think
the
for a million
mechanism is
reasons.
different for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But even that, because it's just a simpler
It's simpler.
mechanism.
Yeah, I know. It's so
Not for all men, though, I have to say.
Oh, say more.
And I think there's a 15% or a little bit smaller that men have that some men are, again, connecting, intimacy. That means like getting to know someone,
Yeah.
vulnerability, closeness, touch, all those things building up. And I think some men that aren't like, I'm ready, are also sometimes denigrated over that.
100. I also have found that one, I like those men better. Two, the older they get, I think it's also like a maturity
Yeah.
thing. It's like I know
That
men,
maybe it starts to cool
I
off.
was gonna say,
It's-
not to- yeah,
but I
it's
think
like-
those men maybe understand women, and if they're interested in
Yeah.
having sex with women, they
yeah.
understand that like that intimacy,
That part.
closeness, safety. Yeah,
Okay, that's the thing. Is like I. Like,
he
this-
doesn't know his
He
audience.
doesn't know. I'm like, okay, casual sex. Like this is not. I'm not.
No one,
Whatever.
everyone's okay with that.
Everybody's okay with that. It's like that casual sex is going to be terrible. That is truly my hot take. Is like I don't think he was coercive per se. I think he was gross. I definitely think this wasn't.
I think he was
consent.
attempting to manipulate.
He was manipulative. But my real hot take is this sounds terrible. This sounds so
if it's
awful.
reflecting like what kind of a lover he is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
It's like,
I-
if, and
I-
especially
yes.
if like sex for women is so much in the brain, I'm like, the foreplay here is like as terrible as like because
But
everything
even
is
casual
foreplay for
sex
women.
can have like
100%.
at the bar, at the party, like it can have sparks.
It can have.
And it never has
also-
to happen again.
I think that this is another thing that we don't totally understand about women is like foreplay is like everything.
Right,
You know?
right.
It's
Wait,
like-
and
it's
that's
like-
not just in the bedroom.
That's what I
from
mean.
Right,
it's like
right.
foreplay is like
It is.
from the
It is
minute
banter.
we start talking.
It is
Yes.
right. It is engage me intellectually.
It's questions about me.
Just
It's-
ask questions.
Just ask questions.
That's all you
have to
need.
do is ask a question.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You don't need to have this voice
Do you know
memo.
what? Okay, this is what a sexy voice memo
Just
would
ask
be.
me about myself.
This would be a sexy voice memo from a man. In theory, I'm not even like doing it, but like, hi, I'm really excited to see you again on
Yes.
Thursday.
Yes.
I know something that we had talked about was like our different approaches to sex. I'm curious what would make you excited about sex. End
Panty dropper.
list. End list. You're welcome, dudes. You are welcome. If a man sent me that, I would be like, oh my God, let
Or
me
what-
think about
what-
that and get back to you. And then I would think about it and then I would be like, ooh, I'm kind of turned on.
Or how about what happened that you're feeling this way about sex?
Ooh, well, only a woman would ask another
You
one. Yeah,
think
like
so?
I don't think a man has ever in his life considered. Yeah.
Like that, most of us have had sexual assault.
Exactly. No, that's the
Thanks.
thing too with this is like, I think that's another reason why I'm like, hashtag triggered is I'm like, in a world where men consistently show up first in leadership positions where they're trying to tell us that they're safe, and then it finds out they are deeply unsafe.
I know.
Like, it is scary for
I know.
women.
I started to. Yeah. This is anyway. I'm like people going to Capitol Hill and taking pictures of congressmen, and I'm like, oh my god, that might not age well.
That might
Isn't
not
that
age well.
awful?
Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's terrible. And so when a man sends a voice memo like this, is like, you are sending it to a likely traumatized woman. Like,
Very likely.
she does not feel
Very
safe with
likely.
you.
It's underreported.
safety-
It's happened to most women. I know.
And safety is, like, I think, one of the most important things.
And that's
that
also
let
emotional
women-
safety.
that's- yeah, the whole
that's
thing.
like you don't. It's not like you have to have a knife to be unsafe.
No, and men do not get that. Anyways,
You just have to send voice memos.
I
like
was
this.
really excited to talk to you about this because I do think that we fundamentally agree
Yes.
on this, but the internet does not. Guys, we will be back. Actually, the three girlies are going to be back on Tuesday for a wrap-up episode because we've missed one another. Meredith will be back. I'm going to go see The Odyssey this afternoon. I'm so excited. Although I was saying to Gabby, like, speaking of
It might be my first movie back in a theater.
I love that for you.
I heard it's incredible.
I've heard it's incredible. I love The Odyssey, and I have very strong opinions on the fact that Odysseus.
Did you read this translation?
I read it in college. Like, it's been
Okay.
a long time.
This woman's translation.
This woman's
because
translation.
I read
yeah.
some.
No,
other
I've never
kind
read
of-
this woman's
Oh, okay,
translation.
okay.
No, because
Apparently
I don't
it's
think
the
she had
it's the
done it.
best.
Yes, she hadn't done it when I
It is a
was
college.
in
I read it in college too.
Right. It's such
I don't know
a
if it's
college.
a book I would read now, but I might try.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Well, it's you get the drift, but I always
There's so many parallels, right? The destruction and harm of war.
the destruction and harm of war, and also, I mean, like, this is now we're like getting into it, but I'm like, men are given this time and space to wander and self-reflect and interest. Like, Odysseus is on the island with Circe for like
And
10
Penelope
years.
just gets to
and
hang out at home,
Penelope
like,
is out
fighting
there
off the suitors.
taking care of the kingdom, taking care of his grown-ass
Son,
son,
yeah, yes,
weaving
yes,
and unweaving, and we're out here talking about this motherfucker Odysseus, like, thousands of years later. Do you see the veins popping out of my neck?
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same.
It is the same shit. Justice for Penelope. We'll see you guys
Justice
on
for
Tuesday.
Penelope.
Bye, guys.